Hello and welcome to Tater Talk, the podcast about Apopka. My name is Joshua McMillan, your host, and this summer we are sitting down with local prominent community members to discuss their lives, work, and experience in our city. Today we're sitting down with prominent community organizer and longtime activist, Mr. Leroy Bell. How are you doing today?
Good, and you?
I'm doing well. So firstly, could you tell us your full name and when and where you were born?
My name is Leroy Bell. I was born in a small city they call the Piney Woods in a little town they call Gallion, Alabama.
Okay. And when did your family settle in Apopka?
My family settled in Apopka in 68, 69.
Okay. And could you tell us where in town you lived and also how many siblings you have?
Well, we settled, my parents settled us in Apopka in the city limits of Apopka on 7th Street. And it was 4 girls and 4 boys, so I had 7.
Big family.
Yeah.
And for those that are unfamiliar, could you introduce your parents, who they were and where they came from?
Oh, okay. My father was Reverend Willie Bell, and he was born in a place they call Camden, Alabama, in Wilcox County. My mother is Maxine Bell. She was born and raised in a place where I was in Gallion, Alabama, in the little town of Pineywood.
Right. And what occupations did your parents work in when they came to Apopka?
Prior to coming to Apopka, my father was like a crew leader, a migrant worker. He would take people all over North Carolina, the Carolinas, New York, all seasonal work, even bring people down to Florida, down like in Harlem Heights. My mom, she did all type of work. My father was a farm worker also, a sharecropper. He actually and worked on a dairy up in a place they call Farnsdale, Alabama, where he would milk 300 heads of cows each day. And my mom worked for a company they call Solomon Brothers Sewing Factory in Thomaston, Alabama, where she was working for like 25 cents an hour. Picked cotton, worked in the woods like paper wood, and also hay, migrant work, and different stuff. And once we came to Florida, my mother had a cousin that was working for Pittman Nursery. And my mother came down and she worked for Pittman Nursery, and my father ran a crew for the citrus part.
Okay, and the Pittman family owned many grove land for orange groves on present-day Poncan Road?
Yes, and they also owned the nursery. And I think the nursery is still on Poncan today.
Now, how would you describe the culture of Apopka that you grew up in, and what were your favorite aspects of it?
Well, the Apopka that I grew up in, it was some similar to the community that I left in Alabama. You had a whole lot of community leaders that really were respected and stood up in the community. I could walk outside my grandma's house, and beside the house she would have a nice big garden out there. And where we lived on 7th Street, it was nothing too much different. It was a guy by the name of Mr. Kirk Merchant. He had a big garden, and every so often we could see coming down Lake Street, Mr. Howard. He would be coming down with his equipment and his horses or mule, and he had a nice big garden uh, on 6th and Lake, and the aspect was that the community was more uh, people looked out for each other back and then, especially the elders. The elders
Right.
were really respected. You know, they looked out for kids. You couldn't you couldn't disrespect an elder and not get in trouble
Right. Right.
because you know they didn't get all mixed up in this kid mess.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I really liked it. It was a really close.
Okay.
Everybody's kind of stayed to themselves, but it wasn't nothing like it is today.
And being that you grew up around many gardens in the community, what were some of your favorite foods or typical foods that your family prepared
Oh
growing up?
well, you know, typical our culture was collard greens, uh, just the regular cultural food that African American ate. Some had acquired different tastes. It wasn't just one specific food that we stuck to. You know, so, you would think some people would think that back then black people didn't eat steaks, but they did. You know,
Oh, okay.
it was just whatever your taste was what your palate was like.
Right.
Yeah.
And we actually have mentioned in one of our previous episodes a sort of infamous spot back in the day known as the graveyard juke joint. Could you speak on the history of that?
Well, the graveyard juke was here when we arrived in Apopka. The juke itself was like a speakeasy where people used to dance, drink, and that's where they used. That was their weekend. That's where it was their entertainment. It was ran by a guy by the name of Mr. Vance and McKenzie, and he was renting the juke joint within the graveyard.
Right.
The graveyard was a bunch of, you would say, shotgun houses because this was a farm town. You know, oranges, the muck, nurseries. You know, you had people that were working out in farming, gathering farm like cabbages, lettuce, old cucumbers, and all this over in Sanford. And during the fall, you had people coming up out of Belglade, Clewiston, Mohaven, Sebring.
Right.
They used to come up to the muck to gather corn and lettuce and stuff. And it was owned by a gentleman by the name of McCormick. And McCormick hired my father back in I think it had to be around 69 or 70. They hired him to make sure that something broke down, it would be fixed. He was like the superintendent.
Oh, okay.
He would go around and collect the rent and stuff from McCormick.
Right.
And when Mr. McCormick passed away, my father didn't desire to work there anymore, so he left.
And this was known as First St. John Holiness Church Cemetery?
No. This cemetery that you're speaking of, that's where it was a row of houses in the graveyard.
Oh, okay.
Now, First John wasn't back in
Back then.
back then.
Okay.
Back then, I don't know exactly how the graveyard got there, but I do know that once we was here, Mr. Yarborough, Mr. Yarborough used to run the cemetery, and my brother Newton Bell, the one that do the grave digging out there now, his wife, father, was the overseer of the graveyard back then. Now, how the transition from the Yarborough over to First John. You know, I don't know how that went.
Right. Now, we have two Masonic lodges located here, historic Masonic lodges located in Apopka. Could you speak on the history of the Davis Masonic Lodge as well?
The Davis, Davis number 47. Davis Lodge was, it was here when we got here, and my father joined the lodge back in, I guess, 1968, 69, once we arrived here. But you had people like Salacious Willis, Mr. James Walker, Mr. W.J.R., you had Mr. Johnny Griffin, you had Mr. Johnny Jones, you had Mr. Mose Howard, you had Mr. Arthur Tippin. You had all these prominent men that was in the lodge when we moved here. And some years later, my father became, you had Roland A. Baker Jr., who became the Grand Master of the state of Florida twice.
Wow.
And up under his leadership as the Grand Master, he appointed my father as Territorial Grand Master of the state of Florida. My father became the Wishful Master of Davis Lodge number 47. Years later, I became the Wishful Master of Davis Lodge 47 and the High Priest of Foster Chapter 17. It have been all type of prominent people came through. You have former Commissioner Alexander Smith. That's where I believe he started his travels there at Davis Lodge 47. You have the gentleman that they just named Evan Football Field, Julius Gordon. Julius Gordon started there.
So we have a very rich history with the Masonic lodges here in Apopka.
Yes.
Now, could you also tell us what schools you attended growing up and what your early interests and aspirations were?
I attended several schools in Alabama from my kindergarten. My kindergarten school is where my family in Alabama gave land to the community to build the first church in our community, the first Masonic lodge, and the first schoolhouse. That was my first school.
Okay.
And I attended a Marengo County Training High, Palmetto School out in a place they call Palmetto, and I attended Phyllis Wheatley back in '68. All these were segregated schools. And in 1970, when they integrated, I went to school up at the Apopka Junior High. The junior high is now what they call Apopka Elementary up on Old Dixie and Vicks Road.
Right.
From there, we went over to Apopka Memorial up under, the principal was Mr. Roger Williams.
Oh, okay.
And from there, they moved us over to the Apopka High School, what's on 55 West Martin. They moved us over there, and we had a counselor by the name of Miss Anderson. She wanted to expose some kids to the college experience. So they had this program at Florida A&M they call REAP, Raising Education, Aspiration, and Perspective. And you had to be a student that had enough credits to graduate to be into this program. Once you get into this program, then they send you, we went and stayed, I forget how many weeks or so up at FAMU. And then they put us on a program like a Project Upward Bound at the University of Miami. And while at Miami, I decided that I wanted to go into the service. And in 1978, at the turn of 79, I joined the United States Army.
Okay. Thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Now, it's to my understanding that you also got involved with the Association of Community Organizations for Reform Now, also known as A.C.O.R.N. Could you tell us when you started getting involved with them and where it led you?
Well, actually, it was in '79. In '97, I was in Chicago working with my brother Willie, and I met my wife, and we decided that I couldn't stand the cold. I didn't want to stay in the snow, so we decided to move back to Florida. I decided to move back home, and once I arrived in Apopka up on 18th Street, I could look down into Lake Jewel, and I could see all these birds. I could see all this trash and stuff, and the stench. I couldn't stand the smell. And we got down into the community, and they had started putting dumps and stuff all around these people's backyard. And so around about, we moved in, and in 2002, our son was born. 2006, our son was born, and he was born 1 pound, 1 ounce. And at this time, a young man came through the neighborhood about environmental injustice. And I really wasn't too into anything at that time. But then I seen where I came from. I knew the struggles that my mom had, that my family had, other family also, that when we moved from Alabama to 7th Street, and finally my mom was able to help educate herself by going out to Mid-Florida Tech, and from making 25 cents an hour, back then minimum wage, working in nursery, it wasn't a whole lot, but it was work. And once she got her a business degree, she became the executive housekeeper for one of the biggest hotels over off of Kirkman Road, which was the Coat of Flags. And she worked there for I don't know how many years, and she started working for a grove service by the name of Roper, where she could make more money. And we moved there, and I seen how the struggles my mom had for someone to come and put all this stuff around her to make her property value go down. And there was a vibrant neighborhood at one time. Now, with all this stuff, people was dying in the community from different respiratory failures and stuff. We had a gentleman that ran for city council that used to live, well, he passed away, Mr. James Griffin. The neighborhood, though it was a nice neighborhood, he moved in the neighborhood. He had to go to Orlando and stand up and advocate for the community because the community didn't have the fire plugs. If a house caught on fire, if they didn't bring the water, they wouldn't have had none. And I seen people like Mr. Griffin advocating for the community, and then I seen another gentleman, Mr. Bell. I don't know this guy. He was complaining about the dump. Then this young lady, Crystal Queen, came into the community, and she really set us down and told us what A.C.O.R.N was. So I joined A.C.O.R.N, and started a chapter here in Apopka.
Okay.
But you already had people like Miss Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
You had other folks that was instrumental in the community, but you had people like Jenny Conimos from the Farm Workers Association.
Mm-hmm.
I even joined those, and I had became the president of the Black Workers Association. Uh, but A.C.O.R.N, for me, it was
Mm-hmm.
a platform to uh, fight back against environmental injustice.
And I think a lot of people in our city nowadays don't realize the hard work that many black families that came from rural background came to Apopka, worked in the muck farms, ferneries, nurseries, and groves, that these are the people that really built the city and not only struggled with coming from intergenerational poverty and other issues, but also facing the pollution and the creation of landfills and other waste treatment sites all around their community. So that's a big part of the reason that we started this podcast and have started interviewing people like Linda Lee with the Farm Workers Association. And so I also wanted to ask how you've been involved with community organizing over the years.
Well, that was a part
Mm-hmm.
with me with the farm workers, and that was pulling at my heartstring that people have paid for their homes that they come from, like my mom, from you could say a shack to a decent home,
Mm-hmm.
and she did it the right way.
Right.
You know, she worked, and now not just her, the people around her, they paid for these homes in the most strenuous way, picking oranges,
Mm-hmm.
crawling around on their
Yeah.
knees in these orange groves and these nurseries, out
Right.
on the muck. Now, if you look at it, if with the muck, you have people that worked on the muck that's been disfigured and stuff from where they was they was spraying pesticide and different things that they was doing at this time, and somehow sprayed on the workers and disfigured the workers and causing them to be sick. And for some reason, our government seen it was more. They felt it was right to get out and heal the land, like the Lake Apopka and everything,
Right.
and just leave the farmers
Yeah.
out.
And give no compensation.
Well, my understanding that at this time there was what they call piecework, and the farmers weren't paying into FICA. They weren't paying into it, so the government couldn't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
But what the government did do was they had the farmers to sell the equipment, the farm equipment, and donate that money to the city of Apopka and Orange County. Now, Orange County was a great steward of this money because Orange County, you could see the fruits of that money if you go down Apopka Boulevard to the Farm Workers Association. That a part of that money helped build that. But now if you come to Apopka, the money from Apopka, it seems to be like it never was given to Apopka. It's nothing against this administration. It's just the past administration haven't did what they were supposed to. And hopefully at some point that this administration can probably get to the bottom of it and find out and at least help, because just to think of it, if the city now used to be a farm workers town, you know, a person could go out and back then and work 3 or 4 days picking oranges and probably make what the people making in a week now. But when the canker came along, the freezes, they say, took away the oranges, when the muck went away,
Yeah.
when all these farm jobs went away, and they taken away all the trade schools, so now you can't train a people. Now you took all this from this community, a thriving community that was able to work. Now, if you don't replace it with something, then a community dies. Once a person cannot sustain housing, pay rent, then you get these vacant buildings, the vacant houses, and then you ever heard of the broken glass syndrome? Is where once a building is abandoned, then the broken windows come out. That's when crime and all this come around and stuff. You know, you have to give the people something that they can get out. It's not that the people don't want to work. You have to put it opportunity, not a handout, but a hand up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, as we come to our last few questions, I wanted to, before I forget, give you an opportunity to tell them what this picture right here is.
Well, that picture right there is it came from the idea of Reverend Willie Bell, my father, and Chief Tom Collins. You had back in the day, you had older guys had stuff to do. You had Mr. Lee Neal. Mr. Lee Neal, he used to have a baseball team. The older guys could play. But it wasn't nothing really for younger guys to do until Jimmy Baker came along. We had a little softball team, and then later on you had Mr. Roscoe Griffin. He came along with the Roscoe Hawks. But what my father did was, him and Chief Collins started this boys club of law enforcement, and what it was to keep young men occupied and expose them to different things other than just here in Apopka. We used to travel every weekend. We would travel up to the Capitol, go into the chamber, talk to different representatives. The Salvation Army used to host us in a lot of things. They used to have a rodeo. They used to have golf tournaments and different things here in Apopka. And Chief Collins would allow us to be with the police officers on help parking the cars and stuff. That's how we generated funds to do different things. And every last one of those guys on there, I think it's 2 on this particular picture, had deceased. But the rest of these guys, anywhere from business owners, retired law enforcement, like myself, retired military, guys that run their own business like tow services. You have morticians on that, guys that are on that particular picture. And it all stemmed from being shaped as a younger. You have a musician, one musician on there, retired truck driver and stuff. But it all stemmed from early intervention with young kids, young guys, and each one of those guys have contributed to this community and have raised a family and doing very well today.
Wow, that's wonderful. And lastly, what is your hope for the future of Apopka, and do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, my hope for Apopka is, my really hope for Apopka is Apopka stop letting their desires, their wants and their needs come before the community. It's so often that we that live in the community have struggled in the community with everyone else. Some have done good than others, and some worse than others.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that seems to get a position seem to forget where they come from. And my hope for this community is that we would all put our selfish reasons and our selfish needs behind us and try to build a community. Now, don't get me wrong. We have great people in this community.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, I can name several. I'm talking about the men and the women. Miss Pookie Howard, Miss Daisy Willis. The men we had, Mr. Arthur Tippin. We had people like Mr. Mose Howard. We had Roland A. Baker. We had the McGladdens. We had the Griffins. We had the Fairs. We had people that really helped shape and build this community.
Mm-hmm.
But now it seems that we are trying to build our own selves and leaving the community
Right.
behind.
And not as a collective.
Not as a collective. And it's funny. It's funny that with the annexation, for some reason, people don't see the value in it, but the value is already there. If you take away South Apopka business, if you take that away, the economy in Apopka city limit would be worse.
Mm-hmm.
The people in South Apopka, they don't go to Orlando for food, gas, clothing, and other goods. All their goods come out of the city of Apopka. And when you buy in Apopka, you buying into Apopka economy.
Mm-hmm.
When they drink their water, it comes from Apopka. I think the only thing that you get, or the Orange County get out of the South Apopka would be the property tax and maybe refuge.
Mm.
Other than that, but if you annex South Apopka into Apopka, then all that revenue that was going to Orlando would be coming to Apopka. I don't think it would be a burden. It would be to the advantage for Apopka to have, because, and just think, when you look back in Apopka, you look at Zellwood, Plymouth, and Apopka, all these great athletes, they come out of places like South Apopka.
Right.
Places like Plymouth. Yeah. You got these great players. These are some of the people that put Apopka name on the map.
Mm-hmm.
And they come out of these communities. And what we ought to do, we build these communities up, then we build up a brighter future for Apopka.
Right. Well, thank you for coming on today. We are honored to have you as one of our guests this summer, to learn more about your family history and life work, community, organization. I hope that our viewers have learned a lot. I know I have. So again, just thank you for coming, and thank you all for tuning in. We'll be releasing our next episode next Saturday, every Saturday this summer, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you. Bye.